Hello there. Today it's time for another happy hour, and I figured for this video I want to go ahead and go through these because I've made art trading cards and I've made tags, and I want to make these into cards. So that's my idea for today. So that way I'm actually completing them, and that might give you some ideas. And I pulled out these backgrounds. That matches pretty darn good. Does that match with that one? Ooh, that does. And or that one. I think I like this one better. That looks nice. Alrighty. Alrighty, dighty. Let's see if I can find anything else. I've got a purple backing there. I like to look through and see what I can find. Oh yes, that's so pretty. Alrighty, anything else? I've got green. There's green. That'll work. Or I could put that one on there. That would pull out the green. Nope, I like that idea better. Alrighty, I've got this blue that's all crunched up. That's kind of fun. That would match that. I will. That's a good idea. You're going crumpled up. Yep, I purposely crumpled it up. Sometimes that just looks really cool to do that. Alrighty, and I've got these, and I don't know if I want to make these into cards, or I do want to make that into a card because then I have someone I want to send that to. Alrighty, oops, we've got red, or a reddish orange. This one might. Oh yes, boy, does that match good. And some actual red. Kind of pulls it out, but I'm not too thrilled with that. That's silver, green. Ooh, that's kind of cool looking. Oh, that looks neat. Okay, that can go on that one. And these ones, I've got this. Whoops, why is that in here? I don't know. That shouldn't be in here. That needs to go in green. Alrighty, I've got this blue that came from another card. That actually matches, and I've got two of those. That's perfect. These were from the same cards that the same person gave me. That's perfect. I forgot I had these ones in here. There's yellow. That matches. Alrighty, and then I need something for that. The yellow one probably matched that too. Ooh, boy does that. Okay, alrighty. I have found card fronts for all of these. Now the only other thing that I want to do is, I was thinking I could, if I, oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. That's even better. That is so going on there. Okay. Because I'm thinking I've got a bunch of these panels that are already, see, that's, I might switch these out already. That's okay. I really do want at least one of those. That's really cool. Do I have any that I really like besides that? I do have this blue, but that's not printed on. Oh, this is one of those funky background ones too. But that's not gonna really match. Does that look better? Nope, I still like that. That's really cool. Nope, I like that one better. Okay. That one matches really good. I like that one. I love that one. I do like that one. This one, nope, I like that one. I'm thinking I'm loving all these. Except for that one I'm not too sure about. I kind of do. Like, I like this one better than this one. Let's see. Can I find another one that I like better? That's pretty, but that doesn't really match. Black background. Oh, that's pretty, but that doesn't match. All right, I don't like that one. How about that one? Gray. Ooh, that's pretty. But I don't like that as much. Oop, I've got blue. Is there anything purpley? I've got yellow, brown, red. Circus colors. Polka dots. Of course, I love polka dots. Ooh, there's some big polka dots. Ooh, that's pretty. I think I like that better. I like that better. Alrighty. And I do like these. This is the only one that I'm not too sure about now. So that's okay. Let's see. That's rather pretty. I think I like that one better. Alrighty. So it's just those two strip back prints that I wasn't too thrilled on. Alright, so I've got these all lined up on here. Let's see how many we can put together and make them into cards. Alrighty, and I've got a stack of cards here, so that's good. Let's see how many we can get through. There's this one, and there's this one. This can certainly go right on front. That's really pretty. I like that, just like that. The only thing I think I could do is maybe do some purple around the outside underneath in between these two layers. Do a little bit of purple. So, and I'm thinking I do have that purple, this purple that I did that background with. That was so pretty. And I can do that. Not that one, the next one. That one. That was gorgeous. So I'm thinking maybe I can just do around the outer edges of this with that. That would be pretty. Good idea. So that's all we need is just a little bit just for around the outer edge, and that will make that pop. And I'll show you both sides, on the white side and the purple side, once I get this done. That'll be neat. Okay, that's neat. All right, so let me put this back away because this will get on everything, and this is so heavily pigmented. It actually dies. If you get it on your clothes, it's not good. You really gotta work it. All right, so let me get a baby wipe and wipe this off before I rub my arm on it. Certainly don't want to do that. That would not be very fun. Alrighty, put that away. Put that back in there. Alrighty, close that up. Put that back in my drawer. Wipe that off. I love these silicone mats. They're just so easy and fun to work on and clean, and they're just nice. Okay, let's clean that off. Perfect. Then that can be put back in the box and dry, and this can come over here and dry. All right, now I want you to see the difference. Do I have any of that on me? No. So look at the difference on this side versus this way. Isn't that cool? That really makes a difference, doesn't it? So with just the purple trim on there, that really makes such a big difference, and it just makes it pop. So, all right. So there you go. Let's go ahead and glue this down right on there. And this background, actually most of these that are in that box have been flat rack attacks. So they're from you, and I appreciate it. All right, turn that over, give that a nice little back rub. See, it just gets everywhere. All righty. Alrighty, dighty. That's really pretty. And then we go ahead and do this. Got another song stuck in my head. And that's okay. That is opening there. Yes, it is. I really like that. That's just so pretty and simple. Sometimes the most simple stuff just looks gorgeous. That's fandancy. And that's just the piece of paper that was lining the inside of one of the cards. That's all that is. And it had the 4 corners with the flowers. And I cut them all out and I'm using them. That's fun. All right, so there's one card ready to go. So let's put that over here and we'll grab another card. And we've got this one. All righty. That is so cool. And this is why I like to, with colored cardstock, I like to just cut it this size, 4 by 5 1/4. So that way it fits right on the front of an A2 card. And then it's a lot cheaper that way to use because I can get 4 cards out of one sheet of the colored cardstock. And that's usually, sometimes it's like the same price plus a half. So if it was, and most of my white cardstock, then I get it for, I try to get it under $10. It's really hard. It's really hard now. But most of mine have been under $10 for the whole ream, which has been nice. So, and you cannot find colored cardstock for that at all. It's usually about 20 bucks. So, but that's why I like to cut it in 4s to put it on the cards, because that stretches it for me. It gives me 4 cards for the price of 1. I like this. That's neat. I'm not sure if it needs anything else. I don't really think so, except for maybe, you know what? I've got a feather folder. Let's do that. Maybe I'll play with folders today. You'll get to see a variety of my folders. Feathers. Feathers, feathers, feather. Fence. Ornaments. Where's feathers? I know I've got one with feathers. Oh, grass. Uh-oh. I know I've got one with birds. Oh, well, here's one with birds, and I thought I had one with feathers. Butterflies, butterflies, flower. All right, well, I don't want to spend forever over there. I found this one anyways. This one's got birds on vines. That'll be pretty. So I'm going to do this through this folder, and that'll be pretty. Yep, yep, yep. And then we can put this together and run it through the machine. And I need to move this out of the way so we can dry somewhere else. Right there will work. Ta-da. Alrighty. That's so pretty. That's so fun. And almost all of my folders I got when they were all under $4 quite a few years ago. I would wait and wait and wait. I would put them in my cart on Amazon, or I would get them at half price in the store, or on Amazon I'd put them in my cart at half price, and I would wait and wait and wait and wait till the price would drop and drop and drop. And then once they would get under $7, then that's when I would usually buy them, is 7 or under. 7 was the most I've ever paid for a folder. So, and I've got a lot. Probably, I know I have at least 100, which is ridiculous. But that's the reason why. Look at this folder. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Alrighty. Oh, yes. See, and that's cute. I like that. That's fun. All right, let's do that. Let's go ahead and glue this down. And that's going to be a nice, easy card. Not all of them are going to be this easy, but some of them, definitely. That's so fun. Alrighty, and then we've got to put that on there. That is so cool. And I think we're going to 3D this. Yep. Oh, wait, nope. Use up that roll. Use this roll up. I want to get this done with. This stuff is getting kind of brittle. Where'd my purple scissors go? Right there. There, that's better. Okie dokie. That's pretty caring. I like that. That's nice. Alrighty. That's good for now. Alrighty. Good enough for government work. I'll have to go back and embellishing if need be. But for now, I just want to get them together. So that's the big goal. That really matches very nicely. Oh, and see, here's a full sheet. So let's go ahead and trim this down, because I should have cut this before, to 5 1/4. Oh, and that's crooked too. Oh, me, oh my. 5 1/4 by 4. By 4. That should fit better. Yep, that's perfect size. I really like that. And then we can put this on the inside. That'll be nice. Okay. That's pretty. Now, I'm thinking with this one, I'm thinking maybe I want to put a couple flowers on the outside too. Let me put this on the inside first. So we'll put this skinny one on the inside. There. This can go up in my over in my strip jar. Alrighty. This. Oh, I know. I can use that flower because I've got that flower. Yes, I do. Let's pull this off, and I'm gonna do. No, I bought the wrong one. I wanted the medium-sized one. Okay. I want to put a flower in each corner. Just punch out a flower in each corner. That'll be pretty. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. It's kind of hard to line it up. Just gotta try. Okay, there's 4. That will be pretty. And then that makes a pop. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Just a fun little trick just to jazzy it up a little bit. I love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's turn this over. And actually, I want to do it that way. All right. Let's put this down. There. Get a little of that glue on each corner. Alrighty, and then turn that over and line up those 2 corners and turn it over and give that a little back rub. I try to do something a little bit different with each one. That's pretty. And then as soon as you put that on, that really shows off those flowers, doesn't it? That is neat. All right, so let's go ahead and do that, but I think I want to 3D this. So let's do that. Nice. Perfect. All right. Then this can go down here. Make sure that's opening on that side. Yes. All right. That is perfect. Turn that over and give that a good press. All right. Now I've got these gems in here. I think those will work just perfect. And I'm going to pick those off and put it right in there. Perfect. That is so pretty. And some of these gems had fallen off the sheet when I pulled this sheet out. And I thought, ooh, missing gems. They're down in the bottom of the bag somewhere and got lost or something. So I had these little flowers, these fingernail flowers, and I stuck them on the spots where they were missing. That is pretty. I like that. And now we've got this we can put up in the corner. How cool is that? Ta-da! That is pretty. And we can put one more gem in there. Voila. Now the inside and the outside match. That's pretty. With love. I like the way that came out. Okay. How exciting. I should be doing it this way so I'm not sliding on this front. Okay. So now let's see what this one we're going to do. That is so pretty. I like that. I'm wondering if I shouldn't put it this way though. And trim this off and put it like so. Or this way. Nope, this way. Sideways. Okay, I think that's a good idea. Let's do that. So we need it about right here. Let's trim that off. You like my measuring? Isn't that great? Hey, whatever works, you know? All right, and that'll be perfect for on there. So let's get this on here. And let's get some glue on here. That's perfect. Okay, turn that over, give that a little back rub. Alrighty, and then this. I can line it up like that, or this way. Nope, I think the little flowers on the top. That's perfect, just like that. That is going to be pretty. And I want to 3D that. Okay. Perfect. All right, tweezers. Voila. It's so nice. If you get in the habit of putting everything right back away, it doesn't take any more time, but it certainly does save time at the end of the day because then almost everything's cleaned up. That is pretty. I like that. Very nice. I like it, like it, like it. Yes, I do. And you know what? I have this piece I can put on the inside, and I think I'll put it right there. There. And that's starting to feel very empty. Perfect. Okay. Nice. I like it. That's so pretty. All right. And I'll add a little bit more bling or something later. Right now, I'm just trying to get the cards together. Okay, this one. I love this one. This is so, it's kind of busy, but it's fun. Sometimes I like to do something busy. That is pretty. All right, and I'm thinking maybe first I want to trim this down to 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, and then I think I'm going to do this in a triangle. Yep, I'm just going to use half of it. So half of it can go back over there, and this can go on here. So, and I'm thinking maybe here and there. That'll be pretty. Yep, all right, so let's do that. Yep, that one's empty. Okie dokie. I gotta put that on. Gotta put the X on there so I remember that's That one's empty. That means I got to pull that excess out and put it in here when this one goes down far enough. Because that cap full will fill up a good portion of that. And the big fat ones, the big fat tubes, the ones that are the bigger ones than these are the small ones, the bigger ones than these, if you have the little insert cap, that will fill up this whole thing. Isn't that funny? Did you know that? That's how much glue is in these. Exactly 1 capful of the big tubes. That's it. All right, that's pretty. I like that. Yes, yes, yes. Okie doke. Let's do this. Nope, I want to 3D that. Nope, I don't. That's a lot of 3Ding already. We don't need it too deep. Alrighty. There. Turn that over. Give that a little back rub. We can put one of these skinny strips in here. Let's do this smaller one. Perfect. That's nice. Okay, we're going to stick that in there for now. Put that over there. Let's pull this one up. Oh yes, this is going to be so cool. Okay, now what I'm going to do with this is I ripped it purposely and was crunching it up so that way it can be kind of mingled. Just because it's fun to give it a little roughed up look sometimes. There. Just looks neat. All right, then I'm going to need some tape because that's real heavy duty and that'll help to hold this down. Yep, yep, yep. Man, it was gorgeous out there today. Oh, so pretty. Pretty view, and I love to look out I can sit on the front porch and just see mountains in a circle around me. Oh, and I love it. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I never thought I'd live in West Virginia. That's just so cool. I always thought I'd move south in the Virginias somewhere, but not exactly where. So, but now we're here. And it's about an hour and a half from our timeshare, the Shenandoah Mountains. Yep, yep, yep. The Massanutten Mountains, I should say, because we live in the Shenandoah Mountains here. Part of them. Yep, 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 the Appalachian Mountains. They're so pretty. And it's so fun to just drive around, and it's different from Connecticut because Connecticut was just water everywhere. We were right on the water. And that's as soon as you get into Connecticut, you can smell immediately the ocean. And that's like Pennsylvania. When I'd go to Butler, Pennsylvania, then it always smelled like sulfur. And it was like, we're home. Sulfur. Oh, it smells so good. But it's just a nice memory, and those are just smells that you get used to, and they just feel like home. And here it's just so beautiful. I love looking around at all the scenery, and there, that is so cool. Isn't that neat looking? I like that. Uh-oh. I lost his eyeball. I'm going to have to You know what? I saw that laying around too. I saw that laying on my desk. I'll have to fix that, but that's okay. I can fix it. Yes, I can. I got more. I saw one little bling after doing this video. And I thought, wonder what that's from. I must have missed it. Nope, it came off of this eyeball. My cat's starting to meow at me again. It sounds like he's saying, Mom, 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 Mom. What? What do you want, baby? Huh? You just need some loves. Yeah, you need some loves and attention. Alrighty, let's get one of these jimmies out. And we can put this on. Ta-da! Little dabble do ya, little dabby. Dabby, dabby, dabby. Yabba dabba doo. Ta-da! Alrighty, perfect. Okay, now we can let this one sit this way and dry. And in the meantime, we can play with this one. Alrighty. Oh, I love these colors. That coral is just gorgeous. So, so pretty. Is that one? Nope. That's the exact size of a card front. Okay, that needs to be trimmed down to 5 1/4 by 4. There we go. And I'm thinking this one, let's go ahead and put one of these on the inside first and get that done with. There. And then this, I'm thinking, maybe I want to cut it in a couple pieces. So maybe if I cut it down a little bit more, down to 5 and 3 3/4, then I can cut this in half. 3 3/4, so that would be 3 1 1/2. 3 and 3 is 1 1/2, and then 3/4. Oh gosh, what's half 3/4? Here, I'll do it the easy way. There, that looks good. Alrighty, it's about 2 7/8, or 1 7/8. Ta-da! Okay, actually, it doesn't really matter. Wow, that was perfect. Okay, and that's 5 inches, so that's 2 1/2 inches. Okay, but I want to do it different. No, I want to do, okay, 2 1/2 inches. Just do it. Just cut it, Barbara. Just cut it. Okay. There. Okay. Now we're going to line these panels up on here like this. Kind of like a window, and that'll just give it another little look. So see, I'm just trying to show you different types of things that you can do to these backgrounds. That's fun. Alrighty. And this is why I end up with so many strips. But that's okay. No problem. It's funny, my son-in-law, when he came over with my grandson to drop off Mommy's car, then, so I'd have her vehicle for the weekend, then my son-in-law wouldn't get out of the car. He says, and he's whispering across the yard, I can't get out, and he's pointing down. I'm not dressed, because he has his pajama bottoms on. I thought I was bad leaving the house. I hate to wear sweatpants out of the house. I don't know why. I just have a hard time with that. And I'm trying to get used to it because it doesn't really matter. I'm trying to be more comfortable and trying to do what's comfortable for me. But I have a really hard time. I just feel undressed. I can wear a sweatshirt out of the house now. I used to never be able to do that. But I grew up old school where you're supposed to get dressed and before you leave the house, you know, you dress up and then you go out. And it's like, it's just so weird to get used to. other. But now that I'm in my 60s, it's like, you know, and with fibromyalgia, I'm lucky to get out of bed on days. I really am. I'm very lucky to get out of bed. So I'm like, you know, if it's comfortable, I'm going to wear it. So that's like these long sleeve t-shirts. I've been noticing that I get the men's and they're long enough. They fit me long enough. The women's, they think, I don't know, they think women are all short and fat. And it's like for women's clothes, that's all the styles are, short and fat. But I need tall clothes. So the men's long sleeve t-shirts I love, and they have a little pocket, and that doesn't bother me. Okay, I think this needs to be 3D'd up. But I like how long they are. And the sweatpants I like much better than the women's sweatpants because, number one, they have pockets, but also because they're long enough. They actually go down over my ankles, and they fit nice and comfortable. So, and again, otherwise women, as soon as you wear them one time, they shrink up and they're short and fat. And it's like, not all women are short and fat. Women are all different sizes today. That's for sure. But I have been definitely realizing that I do like, for the basic things, men's clothes. I like men's t-shirts. I like to wear men's just plain white t-shirts underneath my sweaters and hoodies in the wintertime. I like that. That's pretty. But with the fibromyalgia and my arms burning all the time, I'll tell you, these long sleeve t-shirts, oh, what a big difference. If you have nerve problems, that burniness, oh my goodness, it really makes a big difference. I think I like that over there. And then we might add something over here, like flowers or something, or maybe I don't know, a butterfly or something. I'm not sure, but that's okay. We're gonna glue this down. Sentimental Studios. So now you know how I dress. And I used to just buy clothes. I used to dress up all the time because I worked in doctor offices for years. So, because I did billings and accounts payable, accounts receivable, bookkeeper type of stuff. That was so much fun. And taking people to small claims court, that was always really interesting. And I got to work on when I worked in the physical therapy office, then I used to go to the meetings where, for the HMO, they used to compare all the different insurances and what they pay and this and that, and then come to conclusions on how much we're going to charge and this and that. And that was really fascinating. Very fascinating. Yep. Do I want to lift that up? No, because yes, I do. It was fascinating work. Yep. And it was neat because I learned the program. There's the gem right there. Right there. Right there. So that was just a different one. That was another one. Okay. But that's okay. Because there's a gem right there. Now I know where to put them. That is funny. And it was funny because when I was called to jury duty a few times, but I couldn't go on any of I couldn't be a juror on any of them because they would go through the list and I would know, oh gosh, I would say, I've been working in doctor's offices in this area for like 20 years. And it's like, I knew all the doctors that were involved in the cases and whatever. And I knew the patients, and it was like, no, I can't do that. So I got excused a lot until one time they did keep me. So, but I was too opinionated for that one. They didn't like my opinion. Yep. That's pretty. All right, I think I'm just going to leave that for now. Although I should check what time it is. 40 minutes. See, and I'm almost done. I'm down to just a couple here, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm going to finish this one. I need those flowers. Where are the flowers? We've got flowers. Right. All right, Barbara. They are. I had them out before, and you were using them. Where did you put them? Did you put them back in here? No. They would have to be there or right here, right in front of my face. Or right in front of my face. Okay. One time they wanted me to go, but I had just had my carpal tunnel surgery, and I had both of my hands done at the same time. And that was, oh my gosh, it was the wrong time to try to be serious on a jury because I was in pain. I had both of my hands done at the same time because my mother could only come up one time. And so we thought, all right, we'll just get them both done at the same time so she can help me with bathing and cleaning and this and that. So here I am, and I was in severe pain, and I was in there, and they made me wait all day, and I was in there. And then when they finally got me in there, and then they said, is there any reason why you don't think that you should be a juror on this case? And I said, yes. And they said, why? And then I just lost it. And I just said, because my arms are all swollen, and I'm so tired, and I'm in pain, and I'm going through a divorce, and everything happened all at once. My mother's here, and she has to take care of me, and they went over, and they got a box of tissues and brought them over to me, and brought me a bottle of water, and said, and they were like, they kept doing this, and they kept waiting for me to calm down. And then they said, okay, under the circumstances, the judge said, I think we can dismiss you. It's like, okay, thank you, I'm sorry. Oh, what a mess I was. Oh, good golly. And I went home, and I was like, oh, I can't believe I did that. That was just ridiculous. Crying and blubbering through the whole thing, but I was just so, oh crap. I was just so tired and just so worn out, and just did not have the mind space to do that right then. So thank goodness he heard me and saw me and knew he didn't want me to be on his case. Both sides decided, nope, she can go. We don't need her. This crazy red-headed woman. Oh, good golly, that was so funny. I can laugh about it now, and I did laugh about it afterwards, but I was like, what? I just kept saying, what a dork I am. What a dork. And they're crying like a baby, and oh my goodness, that was just so stupid. How ridiculous. All right, that's what I want. Another one of those, maybe. Maybe. 3 of these, 2 up there, 3 down there. That'll work. Okay. That'll work. That'll work. Let's dump these back in there. And then we'll wipe these on here. That's a lot easier. Yep. There. Alrighty. That's going to be pretty. Oh, see, now that one's missing. Aha. There you go. I know why, because I'm turning it upside down and rubbing it hard on this silicone mat, and it's adhering to it. Yep, and I shouldn't be doing that. Come on, drop. Belly up. There you go. Belly up. Dome up. Dome up. There you go. All right. Now, I need to glue these on. now I can turn that over and press just that side. All right, now I can use these ones. Nope, I've got these ones here already. I can use these and put these in the big ones. There. And there. And there. And then I need 2 little ones for there. That's pretty. I like that. Alrighty, I need that glue again. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. It's like Chuck Willery used to say 2 and 2. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Do you remember that? That's dating me, isn't it? Ha! Chuck Willery and the Newlyweds. Alrighty, let's get this out. That was always such a fun show to watch. Oh my goodness. That's pretty. I like that. Okay, this one should be dry by now, so I can put that over here, and I can let that one dry. All right, what time do we have now? 46 minutes. Okay, we are doing pretty darn good. I think we've got enough time to do this one. Yep. That's really cool. Or this one. I want to do this pink one. This one is just gorgeous. All right, let's do this one. Yep. Another one. Oh gosh, now I'm thinking another one bites the dust. Dun dun. Ooh, I was just thinking I could put that on, but that matches, but that does not match this. So no. No. That's really pretty though. And maybe I'll do this in 2 panels. Yep, but I'll do it this way because it is a little on the short side. So it's at 5. So if I cut it at 2.5, then I can separate it a little bit, just enough, so that there's perfect amount of room. And then that will look lovely. Lovely. Yep. Put that over there, put that over here, get some glue on it. The newlywed game. That was so fun. Alrighty. Turn that over, get that little back rub. That's good. And then we can 3D this up. And I'm using some of this foam up. Yay. Whoop. my bullet shell. That's funny. Down in the bottom there. Now you're going, bullet shell, what is that for? That is because many moons ago when I did daycare for the town of Groton, and they were for severe abuse cases. And I watched the kids while the parents went in for their classes that they had to take in order to get their children back. And then my part of it was to teach them, I had the coolest job, teach them how to play with your children. And I got to go through and show them inexpensive things because they didn't have money. And so they were usually, below poverty level. So, which was kind of sad. But it was true. But anyways, I got to teach them how to play with their kids and just some of the silly stuff that we used to do. Oh my goodness. I think their funnest thing that we did one time was absolutely hysterical. And we just took glue sticks and we took off our shoes and socks. And I said, okay, everybody put your feet in the air. And I gave the kids glue sticks and I told them to paint their mommy and daddy's feet. And then I had them step on paper And we slid on the rug up and down the long hallways. When they were all done, then they got wipies and they got to clean their feet off and put their shoes and socks back on. And they laughed and laughed and laughed. They knew I was crazy. After the first couple times, they thought, all right, this girl's crazy, but she's a lot of fun. That was one of their favorite ones. And another of one of the other ones that I remember that they just loved. This one's gorgeous. I think I better turn it this way, though. Yes. Nope. Was I took magazine pages, just magazine page, and I looked for any large faces that covered the whole thing. So like a lipstick ad or makeups, anything close up that we could get. And oh, it was so cool. And I took them and I tore the lips off. Tore the lips off of the people's faces. And I told them, I said, okay. I said, now, what I want you to do is hold the picture up to your face and stick your tongue through where the mouth was. It was so funny. The looks on their faces was absolutely hysterical. They were like, are you serious? And I said, it is funny. I said, you have to do this. And I said, and I will record it. So that way you can see how funny it is at the end. And I said, and then I will delete it right in front of you. So you don't have to be embarrassed. I'm not going to save it or anything, but I want you to see how funny it is. And I said, you can do this to your kids and you can talk to them and you can talk to them through these faces. But first you got to stick your tongue out through that hole. And I said, because it just looks so funny and they are not going to expect you to do this at all. And so they did it. I said, just trust me. I promise this will work. This is going to be so perfect. And it just helped to cut the ice because these poor kids were taken away from their parents. And a lot of the parents really didn't understand why their kids were taken away. And so, because they were from, like, oh, I remember this one poor lady was from Egypt. She was Egyptian. And they're different. The way that they were brought up is totally different. And there were a lot of things that you can't do in the States. So, and, but there were quite a few cases where in other countries, and that was one of the problems was that in other countries here in the States, we're real picky about where we're touching the children. And in other countries, they freely pick the children up by their bums and they pat their children on the bum and stuff. And here in the States, that's not acceptable. And that was becoming a big thing. That was a big no-no back then. And these poor people were coming here and they were patting their kids on the bum or holding their kids by the bum. And innocently, not doing anything wrong, but they were called in and the kids were taken. And it was just so sad. And so we had to go over and explain to them that that's the way it is here. And I know it doesn't make any sense. And no, you really didn't do anything wrong. But here we have to go through the rules. And then we would just have to go through. But then at this point, now they're just so afraid to touch their kids. And it was so sad because it was just so sad. It was ridiculous. It should have never happened. But that's just the way the system works. Sometimes it was good and sometimes it was bad. And that was definitely one of the things I did not like at all. People calling children's services for so many reasons. And a lot of times it's not because the parents are doing something wrong. They're just doing something a little bit different because of their cultural upbringing. And that's kind of sad. But I had a wonderful, fun job, and those kids adored me. And then, of course, the parents fell in love with me afterwards. And some of the kids, it was funny because some of the kids refused to go into what we call the nursery area when the parents went in for their first portion of it. Then there were quite a few kids that refused to go in with any other people that were doing the nursery unless it was me. They wanted Miss Barbies. And they would refuse, these two little girls in particular. And it was cute because I ended up being their foster parents for a while. So, and that was really sweet. This is gorgeous. Okay. Alrighty, so let me look at this now. What time are we at? And I've really rattled on. 55 minutes. Okay, so now let's quickly go through and see if I need anything else. This, I think, looks good, just the way it is. The only thing I can think of possibly adding is maybe a bow. Let's try it. But I don't know. We'll see. It might look good, it might not. We will find out. Yep. Oh, that is way too small. How about a little bit bigger? The ladies that were my supervisors, the ladies ahead of me when I was doing that daycare stuff for the town of Groton. That was so funny. They loved coming in. They said, we want to stay too. And they had a closet full of all kinds of stuff that were donated. That actually looks okay. That's not bad. Or do I want it there? I think I like it there. I'm going to put it right there. Alrighty. So, but it was funny. They would come in and they were really impressed with how all the clever ideas that I came up with. And they had one whole shelf totally full of magazines. And so I tried to do anything I could think of to use magazines for. Oh, I came up with a lot of things. We did stories with magazine pictures. We pulled pictures out, and then we put them all, the pictures in a bag, and then we had to tell a story once upon a time, and then you had to use your picture, whatever you pulled out of the bag, you had to add that onto the storyline. That was so fun, and they loved it. Okay, this one's done. Okay. This one's done. This one needs some bling. All right. Some bling, 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 bling. Yep. This one. Right there. I've been very blessed with all of my jobs because I actually loved every single job that I've ever had. So I've been very blessed. My very first job was in Craftland in Mystic Village. And I walked into the craft store. And I walked around and I thought, oh, I know how to do everything but two things in here. Well, I know how to do these two things, but I've never done them. But I know how to do it. And so when the lady said, okay, she said, go ahead. She handed me a piece of ruled paper and she said, here, make a list of she said, walk around the store and make a list of all the crafts that you know how to do. And I said, well, it would be easier if I just tell you the two crafts that I've not done, but I know how to do them. And she said, oh, well, what's that? And I said, the tin punching. I had not done that, but I knew how to do it. So this is pretty. I think maybe just some silver ones here. That would be pretty. And she was really impressed. And she said, so you know how to do all these? And I said, yep. And she said, and you know how to stencil? And I said, yeah. And that was when stenciling was really big, stenciling on walls and all kinds of stuff. And she said, well, we also need she said, do you have any problem to teaching? She said, we need a teacher on Saturdays. And I said, I can do that. And I said, teaching stenciling? And she said, yeah. And she said, and anything else we might come up with. She says, do you feel comfortable teaching? And I said, I don't mind teaching anything. I like to teach. So she said, okay, that's wonderful. So that was pretty neat. So, and that was back when Cabbage Patches were big, and we had the heads, not the hands. We had the heads that went to the Cabbage Patch dolls, and the kits. They came in a kit with all the batting and everything, and the instructions on how to make that. Those were fun. Okay, that's done. This. I'm thinking these are really pretty. I could probably put these on, but will that take away from? I don't think it would take away from it. I think I'm going to try it. Why not? Wasn't expecting to do that. Why not? That's adorable. That is cute. So I'm glad I put those on there. Ah, check it out. That's cute. And yes, I will hold these up close. Don't worry. All right, this. Maybe a couple more pearls. Pearly, pearly, pearlies, where are you? Pearly, pearly, pearlies. Whoops, I just saw them right there. All right. Boop, boop, beep, doop. Boop, boop, beep, doop. Nope, I need 3 up there. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Voila! This way. That's perfect. Okay. This one, I don't think it needs anything else. I think that's done. This one, oh, that's so pretty. I think I'm just going to leave this because I don't want to take away from those. All right, and this, they're just gorgeous. I can add more pearlies. Alrighty, let's do that. 2 and 3. Let's do 2 up here and 3 down here. That's going to be so pretty. I love pearls. I remember growing up and couldn't wait to get married, and I dreamed about getting married and getting pearls. I just thought that would be so fun. And I thought that's how, you know, when you're all grown up and you're a lady is when you get your pearls. Isn't that fun? Okay, so let me put these down over here for you. Whoops, put this away, put this away, put this up there, and put these in my strip jar. Oops, actually, I'll put them there because I might need them. Put that over there. And these I didn't do, so just 2 of them I did not do, but I did all the rest. That's awesome. Okay, so let me show you. Here's this one. There's that one. There's this one. There's this one. I really like these 2. Just that roughed up one, and that's just so pretty. And then this one. And this one. And this one. This is so subtle. I really like this one too. And this one. And this one. And this one. And this one. So, do you have a favorite out of all these? Oh gosh. This is, I actually think this one is my favorite out of all of them. I think that's my favorite. That one, then this one. So, if you've got a favorite, let me know in the comments. That's always fun to hear. And I hope you enjoyed today and you were able to relax. And maybe you got a couple chuckles at my ridiculousness. And until we meet again next time, happy crafting. Bye-bye.